This next tutorial is on the misc info page. This is for when you're updating a customer. So you've already gone to the customer's page, found the customer, clicked edit, and then come to this tab, misc info. This first thing right here, if you'll notice I'm trying to click on it, it doesn't let me. This is not functional yet, but someday this right here will integrate through API integration to pull the notes from your funding source, so you can come in here and see why the job hasn't funded. The technicians and reps and admins can come in here and say, okay, what's missing is this. So if a technician logs in and sees that it's the rep's fault, he can call the rep and say, hey, get on your job. Anyways, that's not functional yet, but it will be coming soon. Any notes you have about the account, if you want to say old lady prefers to be called by middle name, anything like that, whatever you want to do. You put in notes about the customer, that's very good to find that. Next thing you would do is the sales rep. I'm going to go ahead and just use this guy, Seth Granny. It's just a fake sales rep name that we put in there. I'll put myself as the technician. It's important to have that so that the technicians know that the job's assigned to them. Then that way they're actually able to access the account, because technicians can only access their own accounts. The sales rep thing should already be done because they usually are the ones running the credit. This is important right here, these couple of fields. Funding source. So for example, these are the different funding sources that we use with my company. Now, if I want to put this as a safe security customer, I want to make sure I put that in here and click the update button, because there are some features that it won't let me do until I've already told it that it's safe security. One example would be the funding notes. Once we get that done, it's not going to be able to pull from a specific funding source unless I tell it what funding source to pull from. And we're going to try to integrate with all the big ones. Anyways, the next thing, now this is very important, is the central station. Now obviously if it's safe security, then in this case it would also be safe security would be the central station. Now sometimes it's different. For example, let's say I use a time payment. They actually use different central stations, and I might have a couple of different central stations I use with that same funding source. So I could use COPS monitoring or avant-garde. So I would have to tell it that. Now this is really important that you do this central station, because there's lots of integration that does not work until you've told it who the central station is. You're unable to send the activation email, you're unable to verify alarm history, place accounts on test. So make sure you've done this. Also, this is where you have the date sold. That was put in there automatically by the date that when you ran the credit. The install date is the same, but you can always change these right here. Also, you can tell the time. You can say this is going to be at 9 o'clock or whatever for this install. Now soon, right here in this area, there's going to be calendars. And it's actually going to integrate with people's Google calendars, because a technician doesn't want to put in all the same information twice. You'll be able to look at a technician's calendar and see, okay, he's got an install, so he's not available at that time, or he's got a birthday party, just anything that'll show up on his Google calendar. You'll be able to say, okay, he's not available for this install because he has a personal issue. You can put in the install fee, how much you're charging to the customer, one-time cost for it, and then also you've got the notice of cancellation deadline. That will automatically put 6 days later after the date sold, just because they usually give 3 days, but sometimes they say business days, and sometimes I can mess you up. So you can always change this, but it'll automatically go 6 days out. And then you hit update, and that's the gist of this page.